that you could be here today to answer some questions and put your input on 2 different political cartoons for us.
No problem, Sarah. The pleasure is all mine.
Let's get started then. Well, as you see in this political cartoon, you are displayed standing before one of our greatest presidents in history, Abraham Lincoln. You notice the size comparison and how you seem to be only a shadow standing in front of his presence, yet you can see his approval he's giving you. What does this cartoon mean to you?
Sarah, I'd like to say that this cartoon makes me very proud to be serving our country. To even be compared at all to Lincoln brings me great pride. I'd like to believe that this cartoon was created to help get across the way I'm leading this country is beneficial. And if Lincoln was still here today, he'd be proud of all the progress our country has made as a whole. I'd like to think that Lincoln and I have a lot in common. He was a great man, and I'm honored to be compared to him.
Do you think anybody would be offended by this cartoon?
Well, yes. I'm sure there are people out there who either disagree with what the cartoons are saying or don't agree with the choices I've made. But I'd like to say I stand pretty firm in what I'm doing for this country, and I think a lot of the country, including my fellow Democrats, would favor this cartoon.
Yes, I think the cartoon has created a very powerful picture.
Yes, I could only hope that one day Americans can look at me as such a powerful and beneficial president as well. And people will be drawing political cartoons of other presidents standing in my shadow and following me. This cartoon speaks volumes in the fact that it's supporting both Republicans and Democrats. I think it shows that either party, a good president is what is important at the end of the day for this country.
Let's look at the cartoon from the opposing perspective, shall we?
Oh, I guess if we must.
President Obama. As we see in this picture here, it's once again you and Abraham Lincoln, but this time we have a completely different outlook on the comparison between the two of you. In this cartoon, you're displayed as a man who has dragged our country down, whereas Lincoln set free our chains. Do you believe that a vast majority of people think this of you?
Well, Sarah, while I feel many people have different opinions of me, I would certainly like to think that I am helping the country's cause rather than going against it. I believe that many Republicans and other conservative Americans may view this cartoon as the truth, but I can't help but oppose the fact that I have done this country wrong. I have been doing my hardest at trying to better our country and work towards making life better for all Americans regardless of background.
As you notice in this cartoon, chains are used to symbol the hardship and struggle our country has gone through. On Abraham Lincoln's side, it's showing people gradually over time become free, whereas time eventually on our side is leading us back into our chains that we once rid of. As you notice in this cartoon, chains are used to symbol the hardship and struggle our country's gone through. On Abraham Lincoln's side, it's showing that people gradually over time become free, whereas time eventually on our side is leading us back into our chains that we once rid of. But are we being hindered? Thank you so much for your time, President Obama, but it seems we're out of time. Again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing what you do for our country in the near future.
You're welcome, Sarah. Thank you for having me. This is John Kong signing off. Cuckoo!
President Kennedy, I'm glad you could join us today and answer some questions about these political cartoons we have to show you.
Thank you for having me here today, Kelly.
The pleasure's mine. Now, President Kennedy, let's take a look at the first political cartoon, shall we? In this political cartoon that was drawn for the Washington Post November 1st of 1962, you can see the political cartoon showed you with the President of the Soviet Union, where you and him are both struggling to keep a box labeled nuclear war shut to prevent some sort of creature inside it from getting out. What does this represent to you?
I think that this political cartoon is a good exaggeration of the problems the United States is facing with nuclear war with the Soviet Union. This is a really symbolic cartoon that helps get across to the public the problems we face with keeping the nuclear war from getting out of control.
Yes, that is true. The box is a really good way of showing just how much struggle the United States had to keep the thought of nuclear war out of sight and out of mind. I think the American public really liked the specific picture because it was showing their leaders trying to lock away nuclear war with both countries that neither country wanted to begin with. This cartoon was drawn by an artist in Cuba. It obviously is apparent that the picture carries a negative connotation. The words at the bottom say, "a different dog, but same collar." This cartoon is not very flattering, isn't a very flattering picture of you, and it's trying to get across a different view of yourself. That you are a slave to fascism, capitalism, and because of the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs, when you tried to invade Cuba. What is your view on this picture?
Well, I can't say I like this picture. I feel that I did what was needed for this country, and though it may not have been successful, it's what I saw out to be the best possible plan for us at the time. I know that in this picture, my face looks that of a dog, and the color that is put on me is obviously trying to symbolize that I, in Cuba's eyes, no better or no worse, just following the same path of all the other presidents we've had before me. But I strongly believe my fellow Americans will be offended by such a picture as this, and I believe this cartoon is far from the truth.
I would have to agree, President Kennedy. Giggle. Let's move on to the next cartoon.